Namaskaram. Hello and welcome, hardworking aspirants. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Yes, UNESCO World Heritage Sites are very important when it comes to an aspirant, whether you're preparing for UPSC or State Civil Services examinations. And remember, it's not only the part of history, but also the part of current affairs, so you should not miss it. Let's get going with this very important topic. Also, we have prepared a playlist of 30 high link topics that you should see and subscribe to. And also, guys, at the end of this, we will see five previous year questions well solved and explained. First and foremost, UNESCO is the part of UNO, United Nations Organization, and we are seeing that UNO is being questioned whether it's still prevalent or not. But when you talk about UNESCO, which was in a way founded in the year 1972, it is something which has tried its level best to preserve the culture, to preserve the temple, to preserve the sites which are very important. The key facts that you can see of UNESCO are listed here. Few such as UNESCO preserves 1073 World Heritage Sites in 167 countries. Also, UNESCO led the reconstruction of mausoleums in Timbuktu. You can see UNESCO stands for freedom of expression and condemns the killing of journalists. It can be asked in the examination, so you should know about it. UNESCO builds youth networks across 9 Mediterranean countries, 177 state parties to the Intangible Heritage Convention. Also, you can see Angkor Temple was removed from the list of World Heritage in danger. These are few of the important topics or the success stories of UNESCO that you should know about. When you talk about this, the World Heritage Fund of the UNESCO provides advanced planning, technical help, emergency aid, and also the professional training to preserve all this. Now, with this, we are also going to see that how these sites are actually nominated. So, the World Heritage Committee uses three independent advisory bodies to assess nomination and also monitor the sites. Number one, it is the ICOMOS, that is the International Council on Monuments and Sites. Now, it evaluates the cultural and mixed property nominations to see if they meet the OUV. That's the criteria which is required. Then you have secondly the IUCN as the International Union for Conservation of Nature. It performs a similar role for natural properties. And then you have the International Center for the Study of the Preservation and Restoration of Cultural Property. And it offers expert advice on conserving cultural sites, leading the training programs, and also guides the restoration effort. These bodies collectively use the heritage place approach, that is an integrated management method that considers the site's social, economic, and environmental context. Now, you see, we talked about OUV. What was OUV? Outstanding Universal Value. Now, this means a site has cultural or natural significance so exceptional that it is important to all of humanity. Now, the cultural selection criteria are 1 to 6. What are these? Few, let's just see. Represents a masterpiece of human creative genius, can be one provides unique or exceptional testimony to a cultural tradition. It can also be is directly associated with the events, traditions, ideas, beliefs, or works of outstanding universal significance. This is the cultural selection criteria. Number 1 to 6, you should know all of it. And then there is natural selection criteria 7 to 10, like contains superlative natural phenomena or areas of exceptional natural beauty, is an outstanding example of significant ongoing ecological or biological processes. So there are these points that you should know, and if these points are fulfilled, then they will be in a way selected into the part of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. There are also some conditions for the authenticity. What are that? The several attributes like form and design should be the preservation of original architectural and structural concept, the material and substance to be the use of the original construction material. Also, the use and function, the continuation of all the sites, original purpose should be there. It should be intangible heritage, the endurance of associated language, spirit, cultural narrative should be preserved. Also, the conditions of integrity is required, like the inclusiveness, the property must contain all elements necessary to express its OUV. Also, the adequate size and protection from adverse effects are also required. Now, you talk about the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The foundation masterpiece of 1983. Why we are saying it? Because in the year 1983, India won the Cricket World Cup. No, it is significant here because India's inaugural entry into the World Heritage List happened at this time. And we have four monumental properties that define the absolute zenith of the ancient rock cut architecture. That is the Ajanta caves. So the Ajanta caves are located where? In Aurangabad district of the state of Maharashtra, and were inscribed on the World Heritage List in the year 1983. When you talk about the historical background of it, the Ajanta caves are described as the earliest and most well preserved example of the ancient Buddhist rock cut architecture and also the mural painting. You have this carved into a horse shoe shaped cliff above the Waghora River in the Sayadri Hills. And if you talk about the first phase, that is the second to the first century before Common Era, this period was supported by Satvahana dynasty, and it was influenced by the Hinayan. Now it is the part of Buddhism, Hinayan and Mahayana. You should know about it because most of the times it is asked, which use symbolic or the non-iconic forms like the stupas. The Mahayana use the idol worship, but the Hinayan doesn't do so. And the architecture form phase is noted for being austere and simple. The second phase that we see, this is highly productive period, was sponsored by the Vakataka dynasty. First phase Satvana, second Vakataka, particularly under the king Harishena. And it was dominated by the Mahayana sect. So first the Hinayan sect and then the Mahayana sect, and the caves were documented by ancient Chinese Buddhist travelers like Fa Hin and Huan Sang. Also the architectural and cultural features, if you see, it consists of 30 rock cut caves. There are viharas and chaitagrihas. Viharas, what are they? Residential monasteries with cells around a central hall. Chaitagrihas are the prayer halls that feature a stupa. So there is a stupa and they do the prayers there. That is the Chaityagrihas. Viharas are the residential monasteries where the monks used to live. The famous Ajanta frescoes were created during the second phase of development. The murals was painted using a tempera technique. This is a fresco or a base of mud, plaster, and cow dung is used. The painting depicts the life of Buddha and the Jataka tales. You can see one of the examples here. A distinctive feature of the painting is the absence of the color blue. Artists used local earth tones. Now, very important example you should know, might be asked in the examination where that blue is there, but blue was not used. And there are other sculptures of the bodhisattvas like the Padmapani and Vajrapani. It has also been asked in the UPSC examination, so you should know about it. After Ajanta, let's see Ellora caves. So the Ellora caves, which are located in the Chandrandari Hills, so with again in the Aurangabad district of Maharashtra, were also inscribed in there 1983. Ellora caves are located 100 kilometers from Ajanta and were created over a continuous period. Like Ajanta, Ellora were never forgotten because it was situated on a major ancient trade route, and the complex was carved by skilled artist guilds from various regions including the Vidarbha, the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And if you talk about the patronage, it was specially from the Rashtrakuta and Yadava dynasties. This is very important that you should know about. And you have Buddhism, Jainism as well as Hinduism features there. If you talk about the architectural cultural feature, the site include 34 monasteries and temple. Buddhist Grove is the cave 1 to 12. You should know about it. Comes sometimes it is asked in the examination. Excavated between the 5th and the 8th century. So it's a shift from Mahayana to Vajrayana Buddhism. And also cave 10. What is cave 10? It is of Vishwakarma or Carpenter's Cave, a Chaitragiha known for its acoustic and rock cut ribs that mimic the wooden beam. And also Teen Tal, that is an impressive 3-story monastic complex, that is cave 12. So cave 1 to 12 is Buddhist caves. Then you talk about the Brahminical or Hindu group, that is 13 to 29. So again, you will see the cave 16 is of Kailash temple, considered the peak of the Indian rock cut architecture. It was commissioned by whom? Rashtrakuta King Krishna I. It was created by carving vertically downward to isolate and then sculpt a massive block of stone into a multi-story temple complex. Now it features a dynamic sculpture including one of the Ravana trying to lift Mount Kailasa. Now, then you have the Jaina groups, cave 30 to 34, excavated between 9th and 12th century for the Digambara sect. And these caves are smaller but are known for their extremely delicate carvings. Now, next comes the Agra Fort. Agra Fort is situated in the state of Uttar Pradesh and was inscribed again in the year 1983. If we talk about the historical background, Agra Fort is a large 16th century Mughal palace fortress that represents a key period in Indian history. Now, the site was originally home to an older brick fort called Badalgarh, which were controlled by Rajput kings and later the Lodi rulers. The third Mughal emperor Akbar completed demolished the old fort and rebuilt it after making Agra his imperial capital. Akbar was responsible for building the fort's strong outer military defense. Now, when you talk about his successor, particularly his son Jahangir and grandson Shah Jahan, they made significant changes to the interior of it. And also, if you talk about the architecture and the cultural features, you have the walls which are made of red sandstone, showcasing advanced Indo-Islamic military engineering, and also the Akbari face features strong, solid red sandstone building, blends traditional Hindu architectural elements, and also the Jahangir Mahal is a prime example of this phase that you should remember. Also, the Shah Jahani phase marked a significant change here. You will see key buildings from the period include the Khas Mahal, that is Emperor's private quarter, the Diwani Am, that is the hall of public audience, and the Diwani Khas, hall of private audience. The famous jewel curved, that is the peacock throne, was once located in Diwani Khas here. So these are few of the important examples here of the fort of Agra that you should know about. Then comes the group of monuments at Hampi. Now, this is located at the Bareilly district of Karnataka, and these were made the part of UNESCO World Heritage Site in the year 1986. If we talk about the background of it, the Hampi ruins are the remains of the capital city of Vijayanagar Empire, and the empire acted as the defense against the northern sultanates, and also it was under Emperor Krishna Deva Raya that it saw its peak of culture and military power. The city is located in a unique boulder covered landscape along the Tungabhadra river, and it was plundered and completely abandoned after the decisive battle of Talikota in the year 1565. If we talk about the architecture and the cultural features, the site contains over 1600 surviving structures, also religious structures like you have the temples which show the toll entrance gateways or the gopurams. Also, you see the Vithala temple complex, which is considered the highest achievement of the Vijayanagar art, and it also includes the musical pillared hall, that is the mandapa, which is really very significant part of it, and also features a detailed stone chariot, that is a ratha. That's an important point that you should know. It is also having a hydraulic engineering, so the site showcase advanced water management systems such as stone adequates, complex step wells, and also the large royal water tanks. The secular architecture buildings like the Lotus Mahal and the Elephant Stable blend Islamic architecture features like the Hindu building methods together coming in the Vijayanagar Empire. Then you have the Dholavira. Now this is very important. The Harappan city located on the Khadir Island in the Kutch district of Gujarat. It was inscribed in the year 2021. Guys, it can be asked in the examination. Dholavira is one of the largest and best preserved urban settlement of the ancient Indus Valley civilization. It was discovered in the year 1968. The city was inhabited for about 1500 years, and this long period of occupation provides a complete record of civilization's rise, peak, and eventual decline there. It is located where? In the island of Khadir in the Great Run of Kutch, and unlike other Harappan cities, which is located on the fertile river plain, Dholavira served as a key maritime and land-based trade center. It utilized local resources like copper, sail, and agate, and was part of international trade network. This is really very important. If you also talk about the architectural and the cultural features, what you find here is the walled city is divided into distinct zones of fortified castle, that is a citadel with a attached valley, a large ceremonial ground, and a fortified middle town for wealthy merchants and a lower town. Now, the water management system here was quite very uh, impacting. You can see that to survive in a very dry climate without rivers, the inhabitants built highly advanced water conservation system, and this system included large rock-cut reservoirs. So it can be said that it was one of the very beginning of this reservoir dams that was built at that time. Also, the use of stone can be seen here, and along with that, the funerary structure. So the large cemetery to the west of the city contains six different types of memorial cenotaphs, that is the monuments, not graves. And you also see the other discoveries like the famous Dholavira signboard, which contains 10 large characters of the in the script, and again it is not yet deciphered. Yes, we yet don't know what does it mean. So this is, guys, the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the important ones which we thought that it will help you for the examination. Let's see a few of the question answers. So which one of the following ancient towns is well known for its elaborate system of water harvesting? Very simple. Just now we have seen Dholavira. Again, you can pause the video and see the explanation, guys. The explanations can help you across another questions, so please go through them. Consider the following statement regarding the framework and selection criteria for UNESCO World Heritage Sites in India. And you have to be inscribed as a site must possess outstanding universal value. Yes, we have seen this. The Archaeological Survey of India is the sole nodal agency responsible for forwarding it. Okay, a site cannot be officially nominated for inscription unless it has been included on the country's tentative list. Okay, so what is right here? Only one, only two, all three, none. I think only two is right here. Again, which two is here? You can see here. The ASI is the nodal agency, is the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate, and it is not the one what was written there. So 1 and 3 is correct here. Again, consider the following historical phases: Ajanta Cave, Lepachi Temple, Sanchi Stupa. Which of the above places are known for mural painting? If you see Lepachi Temple, you will not find any of the mural painting, I believe. Yes, so Lepachi Temple is of Vijayanagar era. No murals are there. So again, 1 and 2 is the correct answer there. Now let's see the next. Consider the following protected areas: Bandipur, Bhitarkanika, Manas, and the Sundarbans. So which of the above are declared tiger reserves? Bhitarkanika is something which I have a doubt. Let's see. 1, 3, and 4. Yes, Bhitarkanika is not there. So again, that's the right answer. Let's see the last question. Which one of the following was very important seaport in the Kakatiya kingdom? So you have Kakinada, your Motupalli, your Machilipatnam, Nellore. Motupalli or Machilipatnam, which is the correct answer? Well, Motupalli is the correct answer here. So guys, with that, we have come to the end of important UNESCO World Heritage Sites. All the best if you're giving the examinations, and keep working hard if you're preparing for it, because if you're consistent, if you're honest, and if you don't give up today or tomorrow, you will be successful. Namaskar.